The black women that the industry continues to push in entertainment, arts and entertainment, is a direct reflection of what they think black women are as a whole. Are they right? And how does that sit with you as a black woman?
American black women are facing a crisis. Stereotyped, generalized, fetishized, single, impoverished, obese, and heavily studied. How can black women at large break away from society's negative perceptions and even our own damaging behaviors to move into God's perfect design? This ministry seeks to empower black women to achieve God's goals for their lives by becoming elegant, healthy, loving, honorable women of standard. And lastly, an elite marriageable class of women no man looking for a wife can turn down. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Now let's get started.
Hi wives, hi future wives. It is Abigail. Thank you so much for coming back to this channel. I hope to empower black women to faith, wifehood, and proper imaging. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Push the notification button so you don't miss anything we have on this channel. Follow my mailing list so you really don't miss anything. I update it all the time. The link is below for that. Marriages for Black Women 2, the ebook. It's a quick read. It is out. The link is below for that as well. It talks about how black women were the most married demographic in America at one point, and now we're the least. What happened, and how do we get back to where we need to be? In Jesus' name, link below for that. Also, wife mindset guide. It is below. It is free. And the link is below. A wife is not just a woman married under the law, but she is a mindset. Lastly, wife affirmations are below. So make sure you get that. That is also free. Father God, I just ask that you will help me to convey this message in the way that it needs to be conveyed. And I pray that those who are here will have ears to hear. In Jesus' name, amen. So I want to talk about Doechii. Doechii is from Tampa, Florida, and she has risen to fame. It seems like out of nowhere. But after doing some research, I've heard that she has been going about this for a very long time, doing covers on YouTube. She was doing the TikTok thing. And I knew about her because a year or two ago, she had this song, What It Is, What's Up. I thought she was a singer. I didn't know she was a rapper. And to be honest, I thought she would be a one-hit wonder because she was found off of TikTok. And a lot of times, TikTok music fame doesn't last long. A lot of people on TikTok have their moment in the spotlight. They may have a song or two that does well, and then they fade away because those type of artists usually aren't longevity artists. They are just artists that record companies make a quick buck out of, and then they move you to the left so they can find someone else that is doing well and viral. And so they don't usually have a lot of staying power. So when I heard that song and I saw that she was a TikTok girl, I didn't think she had a lot of staying power, but clearly I was wrong because she recently just won Rap Album of the Year. And apparently she is the third female to ever accomplish that. So congratulations to her. After that Rap Album Grammy, she has just been doing very well. Billboard named her top 25 women of the year recently, and she is just taking off. Her music seems to be different. It seems to be unique, and she doesn't have the typical look that we see a lot of people push black girls into or black women into. Seems to kind of have a more eccentric, kind of like Lauryn Hill-esque. Not saying she is Lauryn Hill or comparable, but I'm just thinking of someone that has more of an Afrocentric type of look. She rocks braids. She kind of just seems to be in her own lane. Now, that doesn't mean that her imaging, although it's not typical of the Meg Thee Stallions, the Cardi B's, the stuff that they push black women rap to look like, Doechii Cats and stuff, that is an aesthetic, the BBL aesthetic. She doesn't seem to have that. The BBL rap girl aesthetic, she doesn't seem to have that aesthetic going on. But that doesn't mean that her image isn't problematic because, you know, I did know her as a singer. So I didn't know that she was a rapper until recently because of that one song that came out some years ago. She was singing on that song. But I didn't really dive any further into her career because I didn't care for the song lyrics. It just wasn't my cup of tea what the song was talking about. And then I remember hearing it so much, I was like, let me just see who this girl is. I looked up the music video for it, and there was some, it was very provocative and sexually charged. And so I just didn't think to search her any further, because that's not the type of music I'm into. And that imaging for Black women, I really am against sexualizing Black women. Even if it's Black women sexualizing themselves, I'm just not here for it. I feel like it has done damage to the Black community. One of the things that I'm passionate about for Black women is proper imaging, and that is why that is one of the tenets of this ministry, of this channel. And if you look back, I've talked a lot about how our image and how we show up in the world is important as Black women. I've talked about the BET Awards and how I thought a lot of the Black women on that show just, you know, maybe it was 2023 BET Awards whenever I uploaded that. But I talked about how a lot of the Black rappers, the female rappers, the females on that show just are overly sexualized and really not doing good for the Black image. And so although Doechii seems to be eccentric, she seems to be different, she's unique and she's talented, and she's definitely not the typical BBL aesthetic female rapper, Black female rapper. That doesn't mean I believe that she is great for Black women. And that's why I want to talk about this video, because I am so against radical feminism. I've made videos on it. I've talked about how feminism has destroyed the Black community, has helped to destroy Black women, and our focus, what it should be on. And Doechii, again, although she seems very different, creative, and talented, she is still a radical feminist from what I found out. Recently, she posted a picture of her holding up a book by feminist activist Bell Hooks, who has passed on. And I've mentioned before, if you look at my community post from like 2 years ago, I mentioned Bell Hooks in that a lot of these radical Black feminists, Alice Walker, Bell Hook, and others, they have been detrimental to Black women. They have been the worst for Black women to look up to. A lot of them discourage two-parent married homes. A lot of them perpetual victimhood mindset. I just don't think that helps Black women. A lot of them don't really live the life that they talk about. It's just weird, because some of them, they get married, but then they marry white men. Others, they are promoting lesbianism, and I don't think that's good for Black women either. And I believe Bell Hooks was a lesbian. So I saw Doechii hold up that book, and now because she has been uplifted into the stratosphere, she is someone that a lot of young girls are looking up to, especially Black girls are looking up to. I've even seen mixed opinions online, because I saw a lot of people say they like Doechii. A lot of Black people online saying, I like Doechii, she's different. But then when she started, you know, these two things I'm going to talk about, that she's holding up this book about Black feminism and all that stuff, now they're saying, well, maybe she's an industry plant. Maybe she is actually not who we thought she is. She's so talented, but clearly she's here to push an agenda. Apparently, Doechii identifies as bisexual herself. Then recently she was on some type of show where she recently said that a straight male, a straight heterosexual man, doesn't matter the race, but a straight man is a red flag to her when it comes to dating. And there were some fans who were saying that she was just joking, she was playing. Some others said, well, she's bisexual herself, so that makes sense.
Okay, what's my biggest dating red flag?
Is it being on the DL?
You're on the right track. I have my answer.
Is it close enough?
You want to guess one more time what would be a red flag for me?
Bad music taste?
Oh, that is a good one.
Because that's one for me.
That is a good one.
Like,
That's
what
not
do you
what I
mean
put.
you don't listen to Michael Jackson? But okay.
Okay, this is a huge red flag for me.
All right. You know what's so crazy? I was going to say
I mean, strike one. You're a man.
Yeah.
And you're heterosexual.
Yeah.
This kind of promoting of the LGBT agenda and the promiscuity that she has promoted, she promotes, you know, although again, she's eccentric. She has videos of her not wearing much clothes and things like that. All of this stuff is not helping the Black community. And that's why I want to say that we should beware of someone like Doechii. She may be talented, she may be different, she may be eccentric, but at the end of the day, her agenda, what she stands for, what she is promoting and pushing to the masses, especially to young Black women, is dangerous. I've talked about the radical feminism tropes and how it hasn't helped Black women, promoting promiscuity. Now we're promoting LGBT. Okay, we're promoting that stuff. I mean, years ago in California, Prop 8, that was a law to say, should gay people get married? The Black church was very monumental, was very instrumental in knocking that down in California, which is a very progressive state now, was very instrumental. And yet now we are starting to see that Black women are starting to be on the front lines of this LGBT plus movement. What we need in our community is more heterosexual marriage. We need children raised in two-parent married homes. We do not need to be encouraging men and women to the LGBT lifestyle. We do not need to be encouraging Black women to leave Black men to go after other Black women or other women, period, or to explore. These things that second wave feminism pushed so much, promiscuity, baby deletion, all of these things, single motherhood, less family, more focused on the career, all of that stuff has not helped us at all. So why are we continuing to prop up musicians, artists, entertainers? And we know that that is the biggest way Satan loves to use Black people, specifically Black women, because Black women are the forefront of the Black community. I've spoken about how the matriarchy makes up the Black community. We don't have a patriarchy in the Black community. Every other community usually is head by men. Traditionally, the Black community is head by women. So it's not surprising to me that anytime Satan wants to push an agenda forward, he uses a Black woman to do it. Or he wants to push an agenda in the Black community forward, he uses Black women to do it. And also if he wants to push an agenda everywhere, because Black people are trendsetters. Black people are trendsetters. If it doesn't pass with Black folks, it's not going to pass. But if it passes with us, then that means it's cool, it has swag, and it's something that is going to work. And this has been tested time and time again. When Tommy Hilfiger back in the 90s had Black entertainers wearing his clothes, and Tommy Hilfiger took off from being more of a preppy label to being more of a hip hop kind of brand for a long time. Now they've rebranded, but back then Black people wearing Tommy Hilfiger sent the sales over the roof and made it different. And that's because Black women consume a lot of things, especially hair care, cosmetics, beauty products, things like that. We are the #1 consumers in that, especially single Black women. So if you want to make money, if you want to make a dent in pop culture, you have to push it through Black people, specifically Black women, since they had the community. And a Sexy Red being pushed, a Doechii now being pushed, all of these things that allow or use Black women, artistic Black women, to push promiscuity or bad negative agendas, LGBT, things like that, that do not help Black people. They are pushed by Black women. We have to be careful as Black women about what we're consuming. There's this thing about we need to support all women, or Black women need to support Black women, but I don't believe that. I don't think we need to support all Black women if they're pushing for things that are detrimental to our community and to our children. And although Doechii is not a Sexy Red in the sense that she is just, and I'm trying to be nice, but Sexy Red is just promotes filth. But I believe that Doechii also promotes filth, but she wraps it up in an eccentric, artistic bow so that you're not so put off. So you're more willing to say, well, Doechii is more talented, more skilled, more creative and artistic. This is art, right? The art excuse. This is art. And so she's a little bit more palatable than a Sexy Red who is just overtly nasty. You know, sometimes if they put it in a different package because they hear that there are Black people saying that Sexy Red is nasty, that's degenerate, what she's promoting is just overtly, it's just in your face. So they say, okay, well, how can we still promote this agenda but not upset the Black community too much? Let's continue promoting agendas that is bad for Black people and put a black face in front of it, but then let's put a black face that's not so overt, and let's put a black face that's more eccentric, that can get more of a pass in the black community because they're not overtly harmful. You have to kind of dig a little bit deeper. You know, with Sexy Red, she's in your face. It's nasty. It's in your face nastiness. But with Doechii, it's kind of like, oh, wow, that's different. That's unique. She's talented. And then you kind of have to search for, you know, what's in between to see, okay, actually, she's just like everyone else, but just a little bit more polished. You know, there are Black women who are talented, who are married, who have a more family-based ethic and godly, and who are artistic and out there. Nell is a rapper. She's a Christian rapper. She is one of them. Jackie Hill Perry is one of them, who's eccentric, who's different, who has more of a serious or consciousness type rap, but it's God conscious, is Christ Jesus, okay? It's overtly Christian. And it's always interesting to me how these record companies and entertainment labels, they never want to push Black women that seem to have it together. They want to push the single Black female trope to the extreme because unfortunately that is the reality of the Black community. Most Black women are not married. They are single. And I've talked about this so much on this podcast, and which is why it's so important for Black women to get married, because your priorities become different. You're less likely to promote debauchery when you know you have children, when you have children watching. Statistics say that women become more conservative after they have children, after they get married. They're more likely to be conservative. So it's just amazing to me. It's always the same. They want to push a Black woman who is single, who is promiscuous, who promotes promiscuity, who promotes LGBT, who bashes men, who is really just anti-family, anti-God and anti-family. Not religious. They want to push that stuff. But there are so many other Black women who are more family oriented, who are married, who have children, who are artistic, who are creative, who are great at what they do, singing or rapping or whatever. But the major labels don't pick those people up. Of course, because they're overtly Christian as well. So that doesn't fly. They have to go the independent route, and you just have to stumble upon them one day. Right? But then you have the Sexy Reds, the Doechiis, the Doja Cats, all these people who are promoting promiscuity, who are the stereotypes of Black women. They're just immediately pushed into the forefront. Like, how on earth does Sexy Red do a collaboration with Bruno Mars? Bruno Mars has been in the game for almost 20 years now. He's one of the biggest artists out. Anytime he has a song, it's going to go viral. It's going to chart the Billboard charts in the top 10. And somehow Sexy Red was able to collaborate with him. How does that happen? How much did they pay him? Like, what was he thinking? Because I've heard a lot of backlash from him in that collaboration, his fans, and a lot of people was like, why would you even stoop to that level? It's very interesting how the machine, how the devil is just quick to promote these negative images of Black women so quickly. And so when it comes to Doechii, I just want to say be careful. I'm not saying that she's not talented, but she is clearly pushing an anti-marriage, an anti-straight, and an anti-man agenda. Stuff that Black women need to run from. Being anti-men has not helped us. Being bitter towards men, for whatever reason, has not helped us. It hasn't grown our community. It hasn't helped us raise our sons better. It hasn't done any of that, right? Being anti-marriage and family, that hasn't helped us. It hasn't grown our community. It hasn't given us more wealth, and it hasn't helped our families or our children better, okay? Being pro-LGBT hasn't helped us in any bit. It hasn't. Black LGBT people are the highest rates of HIV. Okay? Black women are the highest rates of HIV, STI cases, chlamydia, all that stuff. You even had Sexy Red at one point on a podcast admitting like nothing, nonchalantly, that she's had chlamydia twice. It doesn't bother her at all.
I had chlamydia before though, twice.
Okay.
But I mean,
that's the most pretty common.
Right? These images of Black women being pushed are not good for us. Doechii pushing, radical feminism, bell hooks radical feminism, and pushing, anti-heterosexuality and pushing, LGBT, all of that stuff is not good for Black people. Even dressing provocatively, that's not good for Black people. In the name of art, I don't care how the masses or how the devil tries to cover it up. Oh, this person is artistic, they're unique, it's in the name of art. It's demonic. Because it has the same outcome, whether you following someone as overtly promiscuous as Sexy Red, or you're to a Doechii who's more theatrical and who's more artistic. Okay, it doesn't matter. The outcome is the same. It's demonic. It's disgusting, and it's not going to help Black women. Black women have the leading cases of STIs. So how does a Sexy Red? How does a Doechii pushing promiscuity by what she's dressing like, by promoting radical feminism, and promiscuity is in the tenets of feminism? It's not, we have to get over this whole mantra of it's about equality of the sexes. It's not. It's about women who were jealous that men could do things that women biologically cannot do. Okay. Which is, if they want to work certain jobs, women can't do that if you decide to have children. If men historically going out cheating and having sex with everyone else, well, guess what? Women can't do that because women have to carry children. Women can get STIs. Women also can, of course, men can too, but we can be the incubator for it because there's something down there that's warm, okay, that men don't have, right? We can carry the STIs. We are being hurt the most by this. Eve was the one who took the apple. And although Adam stood by, Eve was deceived. A lot of it has to do that the men have fallen off. But we're not helping either because we're being deceived as well. We say we don't need men. We say that their leadership doesn't matter. We can lead ourselves. But how has it helped us leading ourselves as women, especially as Black women? How has the matriarchy, having a matriarchy, helped? How has it benefited Black women having a matriarchy? Being one of the only communities having a matriarchy. How has that helped us? And how has it helped loving, rocking, supporting, uplifting, and pushing people like Doechii, Sexy Red, Cardi B's, and all these other, Meg Thee Stallion, all these other people? And there's people beyond that, because this isn't just something that's happening now. It's been happening in the past. But how has that stuff helped the Black community? It hasn't helped our marriage rates or STI rates or out of wedlock birth rates or baby deletion rates. It hasn't. We're the number one for all of those things. All of those things are negative, and they have to do with leaving God out and going to worldly agendas such as feminism and listening to people that don't have our best interests at heart. Where are the married women in the music industry that like being married, that promote God, that promote family values, that promote modesty? That doesn't sell, or at least they don't think it sells because they haven't tried to push it. They don't think that's what we want. They look at our community. They look at, there are marketing executives whose job is to look at all demographics, figure out the ins and outs of those demographics, and to promote and push product to those demographics in a way that after they've studied, they believe will help, will work. And there are people who have looked at the dynamics of the Black community, and the Black woman specifically has studied the Black woman and know how to push things out to Black women that they believe works because of the historical patterns of being a Black woman in America and what we gravitate to. And we don't gravitate toward marriage. We don't gravitate toward two married homes or in wedlock births, not having sex before marriage. We don't gravitate to that stuff. So they realize that doesn't work. That doesn't work. So let's promote these women who are promiscuous. And it's not just musicians. It's actors, Black actresses, and reality TV stars, and all this stuff. Look at a Keke Palmer. She had a child out of wedlock. She's not the blueprint for Black women. Yes, she might be successful, but she's not someone who is a Christian and who is living a life that is godly. She's just a great big personality and funny, and that's great. But we have to get past all that. We need to look at these people's fruit. And of course, no one is perfect. People make mistakes. I'm not saying that if you had a child out of wedlock or sex before marriage or anything like that, that it's over for you. Or if you used to promote promiscuity in the past, that it's over for you. But who has recovered? Who has been redeemed? Where are those black women? Where are they being pushed out? Nowhere. I don't see it. I don't see them being pushed out. And I'm just saying that I don't believe that Doechii is who we think she is. She is talented, yes. She may be eccentric and different, yes. She may not be the typical female BBL aesthetic, yes. But at the end of the day, when you inspect the fruit, not the talent, is showing me that she is still a threat and a detriment to the black community, specifically black women following her and young black women in Gen Z and others coming up who don't have fathers, who don't have two-parent homes, who are continuing generational curses of out-of-wedlock births and all this other stuff. And they're looking up to these artists because I can't tell you anybody in this generation that is a black woman that is married, that is signed to a major label being pushed, that is wholesome. They don't think black women want wholesome. They don't think black women are wholesome. And these kind of things mess up our marriage rates. These imagings, this kind of imaging, promotion, all of this stuff hurts us. You may as well promoting feminism, bell hooks, and, saying that a straight man is a red flag. That doesn't necessarily mean being promiscuity or whatever. But if you look at the core tenets of second wave feminism, it's promiscuity. And if you look at I believe her name was Mary Wellington or something, but the very beginning, the very, very beginning of feminism, the girl, was it Shelley? It was somebody. Even Exile is a good book to understand all this. But the woman who kind of came up with this whole feminism thing and politically, she was in a weird relationship with an older man and she had a lot of weird stuff going on. So you have to look at the fruit and the inception of a thing. Don't just think about where it is now, or just look at where it is now, or surface level what they're trying to market to you. You need to look into these movements that you think that you're so into. Where does it start? What are the roots of these things? If you're going to be about something, you need to figure out what the root of it. Where does it come from? Because the root is always going to be there. Most of the time, the root hasn't been plucked out. It's going to always be there. So they can repackage it, change it, whatever, but it's still going to be there. And a lot of feminism, radical feminism today, don't even care for biological women. So now you might say, well, I don't see why it's wrong to be a feminist or all this other stuff, or I don't see why it's wrong LGBT. But you don't understand the agenda behind what Doechii is promoting is not even for biological women. A lot of feminism today, you could go on a single account. It's called Feminism or Feminist on Instagram. You can see all the stuff that they're promoting. It's like the largest feminist account. They're barely promoting biological women. A lot of them are against biological women. A lot of them are promoting biological men in biological women's sports and beyond. So again, if that is what you're on, then fine. But if you're against these things, then you need to take a real hard look at who the industry is promoting to you. And I'm going to tell you right now, the industry has changed. There used to be more of a balance. It's definitely not that anymore. But there are many talented women of God and just women, black women who are not immodest and who are promoting positive things and family values, all that stuff. But you're going to have to search for them. That's the reality. And I'm always skeptical. I'm starting to become more skeptical of any black woman that the industry is pushing, and it's just everywhere. Certainly the black woman, she's everywhere. She came out, it feels like she came out of nowhere. She's on every show. She's winning awards. She's on magazine covers. She's on the blogs. She's just everywhere. Like today, you didn't know who she was. Next time, she's everywhere. Because knowing how the industry is controlled by the devil, I realize that there's an agenda behind these black women, and 9 times out of 10, these women are not Christian. They are, or they don't know where they stand with God, right? They don't even know if they may be agnostic, right? or they're promoting promiscuity. They're not married. They don't have children in wedlock, if they have children at all. And they have a worldly view. Those women are always going to be pushed by the masses. And so what I would say is try to search for music and women that are the opposite. Because I know with the place in life that I'm at as a married woman, a lot of these single women that the industry are pushing, single Black women, they don't appeal to me because I'm not like that in my life. I'm a married woman. What do I have? Why am I listening to some of these people? Why would I listen to some of these people? It doesn't do nothing for me. But because most Black women are single, these women are being pushed because that's what they believe the masses want to hear. They believe that Black women want to hear these things and want these things because they see our demographics and they say, well, they're mostly single, so they're going to look at these things. They're going to watch these things. They're going to be enjoying these things. And I'm just saying, once you get to a different mindset, once you do have that wife mindset, once you have a godly mindset, those things don't appeal to you anymore. And so you want something different. You kind of want something that relates to you. And so, although Doechii seems to be very talented and unique and different, at the end of the day, when you peel back the layers, there is an agenda there and it's not a godly one. I pray God's mercy on her, and I pray that she comes to know Jesus Christ and she gives her life to God and she uses her gifts and talents to, glorify God. I'm just saying right now, it doesn't seem to be that she's in that space. And I would be very careful of listening to, uplifting, and promoting someone like her because I just don't believe that she is for Black women in a positive way. And it seems like Black women are becoming more and more progressive. It's weird because more of us, according to research, are Christian. More Black women are Christian than Black men. Yet Black men are becoming more conservative politically. And Black women are voting progressively still. And we are also just starting to embrace all kinds of foolishness that is anti-God. So, and I've showed you, look at my video where I was like, Black women are going to hell. And it talks about how Black people who are Christian, Black Christians, although we are supposed to be the most religious group in America, we are starting to believe some crazy thing that a majority of Black Christians don't think it's essential to not have sex before marriage and don't think it's a big deal. And they mostly hear topics about racism and gender equality and all this stuff from the pulpit and stuff that has nothing to do with the Bible. So check out that podcast. I talk about it. But anyways, let's just be careful what we are putting in our minds, allowing our young women to see and grow up thinking this is okay. I think we should push back against this. How do you push back? You just you can let your voice be heard like what I'm doing. Or another way, just don't listen to her music. Again, seems to be very talented. But there's something behind all of this. And I think you need to realize that the Black women that the industry continues to push are a reflection of what they think about Black women. The Black women that the industry continues to push in entertainment, arts and entertainment, is a direct reflection of what they think Black women are as a whole. Are they right? And how does that sit with you as a Black woman?